Last Saturday, at the luxurious Begenstock resort in Switzerland, Iranian and American negotiators were preparing for the first round of technical talks on the framework agreement announced a week earlier. The Qatari and Pakistani mediators were in place. Journalists were waiting outside the hall. Just 80 minutes after the session began, something happened that no one expected. The Iranian delegation, led by Mohammad Bakr Kalibaf, stood up and walked out of the hall in protest against the continued public threats by U.S. President Donald Trump against Iran, even while negotiators were sitting at the table. What had Trump done? That very morning, while his Vice President J.D. Vance was arriving in Switzerland, Trump was giving an interview to Fox News, threatening to blow up Iran and kidnap the negotiators if they did not reopen the Strait of Hormuz. He wrote on Truth Social, "Iran must immediately stop their proxies in Lebanon from causing trouble. If they don't, we will hit Iran hard again. Today, we will tell you the story of this new diplomatic embarrassment that added another chapter to Trump's chaos on the Iranian file, and how the language of continuous threats has brought Washington to a point where it has become the joke of Washington par excellence. Come with me." The Iranian walkout was not a surprise. It was an expected reaction to a series of statements Trump had made in the days leading up to the talks. According to a report in The Guardian, the Iranian delegation continued its meeting with the Qatari mediator, then decided to leave the negotiation site in protest at the humiliating message published by the U.S. president. They described Trump's threats as unacceptable military blackmail, reflecting Washington's lack of seriousness in establishing an equitable peace. What exactly did Kalibaf say? The head of the Iranian delegation came out with a fiery statement in which he said, "Do they not think to themselves that if their threats had any effect, they would not have reached the state of desperation they are in today? We do not take American threats seriously at all." He added, "They must be more careful in their statements. Our armed forces are ready to respond to them in a different way. Regardless of what they say, we are the ones who act." The message from Tehran was clear. You need this agreement more than we do, and if you continue to threaten, we will leave the table entirely. To understand why Iran was angry, let us review what Trump said on the morning of the same day. In an interview with Fox News, Trump said, "If they close the strait, you won't have a country. You won't even go back to your goddamn country. We might take over the strait. If we have to, I'll blow them up." He added, "If they don't make a deal, we'll impose transit fees." On Truth Social, Trump wrote, "Iran must immediately stop their proxies in Lebanon from causing trouble. If they don't, we will hit Iran hard again, as we did last week, but much harder." An additional threat. Trump revealed that he had threatened to kidnap the Iranian negotiators if they did not comply with his demands. These threats, as described by analyst Joe Cirincione on the Alex Witt Reports program, caused the talks to collapse to the point where Trump was forced to return to Tony Soprano tactics in negotiation. In other words, threatening violence. But the irony is that the threats did not succeed in subduing Iran. They only made it more defiant. And as Cirincione said, this is what happens when he has no cards left to play. He is in a weak position, and he is now embarrassed by this deal. The Iranian protest was not just a response to words, it was also a response to actions. Iran announced that it had reclosed the Strait of Hormuz in protest at the continued Israeli attacks in Lebanon. It said that resolving the situation in Lebanon will be part of the negotiations in Switzerland. In other words, the agreement Trump announced a week ago has not been implemented. Lebanon is still burning, and the strait is still closed. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said, "The real test of the understandings reached will be this mechanism for preventing clashes that was created due to the fighting between Israel and Hezbollah." And while Trump was threatening, his Vice President J.D. Vance was trying, in Switzerland, to salvage the situation. In more measured language, Vance said, "We have seen significant progress in the last few days to ensure the ceasefire in Lebanon holds. These things are always a little messy." Vance also tried to present a vision completely different from Trump's. He said, "What the president has asked us to do is to open a new chapter, to change our relationship with the Iranian people, and to extend a hand that says to the Iranian people that if your leadership is ready to abandon the payment of regional instability and is ready to abandon long-term nuclear weapons ambitions, then the United States is ready to fundamentally change our relationship with this country." But the contradiction in tone between Trump and Vance made the U.S. delegation appear before its adversaries as lacking a unified diplomatic strategy. The greatest irony in all of this is what analyst Joe Cirincione told the Alex Witt Reports program. Cirincione said, "The joke in Washington is that Trump told us this war would end in unconditional surrender, but he didn't tell us it would be our unconditional surrender." He continued, "If Trump tries to force this agreement through Congress, I don't think it will pass, and that's not something I would have said just a week ago." What does this mean? It means Trump finds himself in an unenviable position. His Republican allies in Congress are beginning to question the deal. His electoral base is starting to rebel, and he himself, as analysts say, has become embarrassed embarrassed by the deal he was celebrating just a week ago. Trump's own base is starting to turn against him, and as Cirinchoni described it, he is frustrated, he is attacking, he is acting irrationally, as he often does, and is basically lying about what is happening. Let us summarize what we have learned today. First, Iran walked out of the negotiations in protest at Trump's public threats just 80 minutes after the sessions began. Second, Trump threatened to blow up Iran and kidnap the negotiators in a television interview and posts on Truth Social. Third, Vance tried to salvage the situation with measured language, but the contradiction in tone between him and Trump made the U.S. delegation appear uncoordinated. Fourth, the strait is still closed, Lebanon is still burning, and the framework agreement has not yet been implemented. Fifth, the joke in Washington is that Trump turned victory into American surrender, and the question remains, will the Qatari and Pakistani mediators succeed in salvaging this fragile truce, or will Trump's threats push Iran to a final walkout, sending everyone back to the brink of war? The answer, it seems, is not in Trump's hands alone. It is in the hands of Calabath, who holds the walkout card, in the hands of Netanyahu, who continues to strike Lebanon, in the hands of Hezbollah, which refuses to surrender, and in the hands of Trump himself, who does not know how to stop threatening.
Write your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to receive all our new videos. See you in the next video.